The people groan. Corpses float in the Euphrates. Brigands roam the roads. The storm ordered by Enlil in hate covers the land like a garment. This isn't poetry. This is an eyewitness account, written 4,000 years ago, by someone watching their world end. The city of Ur didn't just fall, it screamed, and someone decided to write that scream down. What they left behind is the oldest description of an apocalypse in human history, and it reads like it was written yesterday. Before we watch it burn, you need to understand what Ur was. By 2100 BC, Ur wasn't just a city, it was the city. The capital of an empire stretching across all of Mesopotamia, the New York, London, and Tokyo of the ancient world combined. Its ziggurat rose from the plains like a man-made mountain, a temple to Nana, the moon god, visible for miles in every direction. Merchants came from the Indus Valley, from the Persian Gulf, from places so distant that the Sumerians called them the edge of the world. The administration was so advanced that they invented the 60-second minute, the 60-minute hour, the system we still use to measure time 4,000 years later. King Shulgi ruled for 47 years. He called himself the king of the four corners of the universe. And for a while, he might have been right. Ur had walls, Ur had grain, Ur had an army, Ur had everything, except time. The collapse didn't come with a bang, it came with footsteps. From the north, the Amorites, nomads, hungry, moving south in waves. So many that King Shulgi's son built a wall to stop them. 150 miles of mud brick, stretching across the entire country. It didn't work. The Amorites didn't attack the wall. They walked around it. They filtered through. They settled, and they waited. From the east, the Elamites, an ancient enemy, patient, watching. And from the sky, silence. The rains that should have fallen didn't. By the reign of the last king, Ibbi-sin, the empire was bleeding from every direction. Letters from his governors tell the story. My lord, the enemy is at the gates. My lord, the grain has not arrived. My lord, I cannot hold. One by one, the cities stopped writing. One by one, they went dark. Here's a number that tells you everything. In normal times, a gur of grain cost 1 shekel. In the final year of Ur, it cost 60. 60 times normal. Imagine bread at $600 a loaf. Imagine knowing that tomorrow, it might cost more. And the day after, there might not be any at all. The empire wasn't conquered, it was starved. Ibbi-sin watched his kingdom shrink. First the outer provinces, then the neighboring cities, then the suburbs, until all that remained was Ur itself. A capital without a country, a king without a kingdom, a city waiting to die. And then around 2004 BC, the Elamites came. We don't know how long the siege lasted. The records stop, but the Lament tells us what happened inside. Inside there is death, outside there is death. Inside we succumb to famine. Outside we are dispatched by Elamite blades. Inside there is death, outside there is death. Think about that. The walls that were supposed to protect them became a cage. Stay inside, starve, go outside, die by the sword. Parents watch their children grow thin, then quiet, then still. The temples emptied. Not because people stopped believing, but because they couldn't walk to them anymore. And somewhere in the city, someone was writing, recording, bearing witness, because someone had to. When the walls finally broke, the Elamites poured through. The Lament doesn't spare us the details. In its boulevards, where the feasts were celebrated, scattered they lay, the people lay in heaps. Bodies dissolved like fat left in the sun. The old women who could not leave their houses were engulfed by fire. The old men who could not run were buried in flames. The ziggurat, that mountain of brick that had touched the sky, was stripped. The treasury, looted. The statues of gods, dragged away in carts. And King Ibbi-sin, he was taken alive, dragged in chains to Susa, the Elamite capital. We never hear from him again. No record of his death, no tomb. He simply disappears. The last king of Ur walked into darkness, and the darkness never gave him back. But here's the part that haunts me. After the fire, after the bodies, after the Elamites left with their plunder, survivors came back, crawled out of hiding, walked through streets they didn't recognize anymore. And one of them, we don't know who, started writing. Not a history, not a record of tribute or kings, a funeral song. For a city, the goddess Ningal speaks in the Lament, the divine mother of Ur, and her words are unbearable. My city like a tent, like a pulled-up harvest shed, or my home filled with things was verily pulled up. A goddess, weeping. Because even the gods couldn't stop what happened. For the first time in human history, someone wrote down what it feels like when civilization ends. The emptiness. The silence where there used to be voices. The smoke where there used to be homes. They wrote it so we would remember. The scholars who first translated the Lament for Ur were working in the 1940s. World War II was ending. Cities across Europe lay in ruins. Hiroshima and Nagasaki had just been erased. And here was a text, 4,000 years old, describing the exact same nightmare. Fire, famine, bodies in the streets. A civilization convinced of its own permanence, reduced to rubble and memory. The Sumerians built walls against the nomads. We build borders. The Sumerians depended on trade routes for survival. We depend on supply chains. The Sumerians believed their gods would protect them. We believe in what exactly? Ur was the greatest city in the world until it wasn't. And someone, in the ruins, wrote down a warning. We just never read it. The ruins of Ur are still there, in modern Iraq, baking under the same sun. The ziggurat still stands, partially. Rebuilt by Saddam Hussein in the 1980s, bombed during the Gulf War. Rebuilt again, 4,000 years, and we're still burning and rebuilding on the same ground. Somewhere in a museum, behind glass, sits a clay tablet. Pressed with tiny wedge-shaped marks, the Lament for Ur. Do not forget us, it says, in so many words. The storm that came, may it never come again. We heard them. The question is whether we listened.